What is your best one time my dad? Story? I was 7 years old walking home from my friend's house after enjoying a snow day sledding around in her hilly backyard. Apparently the neighborhood boys around my age, I am girl, spent their day building a fort structure. I remember stopping briefly to admire it, but no kids in sight. Oh well, I turn and continue walking home. Suddenly about 5 boys popped out the back of the fort and pummeled the crap out of me with snowballs. I guess they also spent the day stocking ammunition and awaiting the perfect passing victim. They really messed me up. I am a stupidly petite adult and thus, was a really tiny little girl, and these dumb boys really didn't understand that they were going too far. I was down on the ground and still getting nailed snowball after snowball, mostly in the head and face area. After the initial shock, I made efforts to block the shots with my snow saucer and finally got on my feet to run. They followed me until they ran out of projectiles and retreated. Relieved, I stopped running and was just so upset, I was barely even walking. Just dragging my feet, crying, trying to wipe my face with big stupid bulky gloves. Then my dad's car pulls up next to me. He had gone to work that day, despite the snow, and had just pulled into the neighborhood. "Hey kid, need a ride?" So yeah, I get in the car and he sees I've been crying. At first I wouldn't tell him why I was upset, because I was embarrassed and didn't want to be a tattletale. Once we pulled into the driveway though, he wouldn't let me out of the car until I told him what was up. After my explanation he told me to go inside and get washed up for dinner, that he'll be inside in a few minutes. Okay, so time warped to 10 years later. I was planning a big high school graduation cookout at our house and I was inviting all the kids from the neighborhood. A couple of those boys from the snowball incident told me they didn't really feel comfortable hanging out at my parents' house, to which I'm like, what are you talking about? These boys then lay out this tale. On that fateful snow D-Day, my dad drove back to the kids' fort and screamed at all of them to come out or he would call their parents. Once all the boys were lined up, Dad, still in his suit and tie, demolished their fort, kicked it all down. Then from the rubble he made big man-sized snowballs and made sure each kid got a face full of their precious fort.